Right then. Freaky Friday here. For some of us. Not this guy. Oh, yeah. All right. What's new? Yesterday turned into a pretty near 12-hour day. Because I was down in Central and South Central filling in for the self-proclaimed best tech in the company that hurt himself on the job. When I was down getting my parts the other day, I interacted with him a little bit. It's weird. The guy absolutely hates my guts because I faced him a couple of times and proved him wrong and called him a rookie back in the day. And yeah, he's been holding a grudge ever since. But the other day when I was down there, he was acting like we were best friends. All friendly and talkative. The other guy, Rowdy Tellas, he can't stand me. No. And he holds no bones about it. But him and the self-proclaimed best tech in the company are best buddies. Yeah, so I'm sure they backstab and gossip and shit. It's kind of funny. I remember one time I didn't have a route, so Jeremy had me come down to the DC shop to fix units that were sitting in the shop. I hate that. Just hate it. And, I belong on the road. Yeah. So there was a washing machine sitting in there that nobody could figure out what was wrong with it. And they had Rowdy Tellas on it. They had the self-proclaimed best tech on it. They had, I think even JC looked at it. And they couldn't figure out what was wrong. He was doing all kinds of weird stuff. And it was one of these highly computerized items. So, JC, Rowdy's in the shop, self-proclaims in the shop. There's a couple other guys hanging around. And JC tries to put me on the spot. He says, "Hey, Ken, take a look at that washer over there and see if you can figure out what's wrong." And I said, "Well, what's it doing?" "Well, it's doing all kinds of erratic stuff. The door lock locks, unlocks, user interface panel lights up, but you can't do any inputs on it, stuff like this." So, first thing I usually do on one of these high-tech units is I check all the wiring connections. Because sometimes from the factory, if it was made on a Monday or Friday, and it's beer 30, and somebody wants to get out of there, the quality control kind of goes away. And sometimes a harness doesn't get plugged in, or a connection is loose, or something along those lines. So that's the first thing I go to. So I open up the unit, and I look at the main control board, and right away I saw what was wrong. So, I think this was a Whirlpool unit, and there was like 24 wire connections going to the main control. Plug-in harnesses. I don't have any here to show you. Multiple wires on one plug. Well, Whirlpool does a really good job of color coding everything. So on the board, on the receptacle where the plug plugs in, they'll put a colored dot. Red, purple, green, blue. And on the corresponding plug that's supposed to plug into that, there will be a red, blue, green, yellow dot. I look at the motherboard, and everything's hooked up wrong. Yep. Nothing matches. So I said, well, here's the problem. Whoever put this main control in, and I said that out loud, And JC, well, that was Rowdy. They don't have the wire connections correct. So I unplugged everything, plugged it into the color coordinating socket, and voila, the thing worked like a dream. So of course JC had to give Rowdy shit. Oh, look at that. Ken comes in and fixes it in 15 seconds. You guys have had it in the shop here for what, 3-4 months? Can't figure it out? Ooh, Rowdy doesn't like me anymore. But I don't know what's going on with Self-Proclaimed yesterday. Or the other day, he was like we're long lost buddies. I got a theory. Nobody likes him. The only person that really likes him is Rowdy, because they're friends. But even Rowdy knows that he's a poser and a wannabe. Because Rowdy made an offhanded gossip comment to DTR a while back when they were talking about Self-Proclaimed that, oh yeah, he's nothing but smoke and mirrors. He's fake as the day is long. Fake it to win it is how he, yeah. So he knows, but yet he's friends with him. But I think nobody likes him. The new guys that are coming in and ride with Self-Proclaimed for training hate him because he's he makes them do all the work. He doesn't stand alongside them when they're doing the work and coach them. He sits out in the van and plays on his phone and makes the new guy sit in there with the customer stressing out because they have no clue what they're doing. And yeah, I know that feeling. When I started in this trade 15, 14 years ago, 16, whatever it's been, the company I worked for, that's how they treated me. I was a remote tech working up in Central, and they were located in South Central, and they needed a tech to cover the Central area, so that's what they hired me for. And I worked out of my house. Yeah, I got to take the company van home. They would come up once a week and drop a big pile of parts off on my back porch for the week. But other than that, I was on my own. And I had to, I trained. I'd never been in this field, never done this before. I rode with one of the owner's sons for like 2-3 weeks. And that's all the training I got. Whatever stops we had during that period, that's all the training I got. Yep. So and then they gave me a van and they threw me out to the wolves. Oh my God, I'm going into people's houses. I haven't seen these appliances before, didn't know they existed, and I'm supposed to fix it, figure out what's wrong and fix it. So they call that trial by fire. So that's how I learned. Oh, I was best friends with everybody on Tech Line. Yeah, I'd call into Tech Line multiple times a day, and one guy, he's kind of an a-hole, he says, "What, are we training you?" And I said, "In essence, yeah." Yeah. He goes, "That's not what we're here for." I says, "You're my only lifeline. So if you want me to fix your appliances, you better help me out, or this is not going to end well." So I learned it all on my own, pretty much. Trial by fire. So that's what Self-Proclaimed's doing. He's taking the opportunity to have a stroke day, sit in a van, play on his phone, while the new guy's in the house. They hate him. Yep. So he's not liked. And I wonder if he's realizing that nobody likes him. Let's cozy up to Ken. Ken doesn't talk to me, ever. You know, I don't like him either. But oh boy, he was sure putting on the schmooze the other day. Food for thought. It's not going to change my opinion of him. He is who he is, and I don't agree with it, so yeah. Route day, 4 calls. Relatively, 3 of them are centrally located here. The 4th one's a little stretch out. All but the last one is putting on parts. Yep. couple of the calls are parts that I ordered, but one of them is not. Yeah. So I got that going on. But it shouldn't be too bad. I should have a relatively normal day, which will allow me to get home. The weather sucks. Overcast, cloudy, cool. It's supposed to rain. Yeah, not a nice day. But, yeah. I do have to go to Menards before I go home tonight and get some stuff for the project down at the trailer. Speaking of going home, yesterday, like I said, was pushing a 12-hour day. And I was down in South Central, so I literally had to drive right by the lake house in the van here to get home, to get to the shop. And it dawned on me, why? Why don't I just take the van home? Now, they frown on that. They don't let us technicians take the van home. If they did, oh, this would be the ultimate gig. Yeah, all that fuel I'd be saving. My round trip, I clocked it out, is 50 miles. 50, 52, 50, somewhere in there. Round trip from my house to the shop and then back. Well, since the highway that I live on is nothing but deer city, there's deer everywhere. I can't go highway speeds, so I'm usually coming into work at around 45 miles an hour, set the cruise at 45, and going home the same way. Scrunchy's trying to call, but I want to finish my train of thought here, so I'll get back to her. I'm sure she'll understand. Because she loves my vlogs. She's my #1 worshiper at the Church of the Great Nostradamus. Sitting in the front row. So it's an hour round trip. Well, if I could take the van home, company gas, that would be huge. Yeah. But last night, I'm in South Central around 6 o'clock, and I'm driving all the way back up here to the Northwoods, and I'm literally driving right by the exit that I need to take to get to the lake house, which is just 3/4 of a mile down the road. I'm like, you know what? I'm taking the van home. So when I park the Jeep here, I leave the keys in it. It's such a crime-free area, and it's well lit with security cameras and all this. I just leave the keys in the ignition. Don't lock the Jeep. So that worked in my favor. I didn't have the keys in my pocket. Yep. So I called the store manager, Brandon, super nice guy. He's playing on Team Jesus. Yeah, I didn't know that about him, but now I do. Called him, I says, hey bud, can you run out, grab the keys out of my Jeep, lock it, and put the keys on the desk. So that's what he did. And I took the van home last night and saved the company 30 minutes of having to pay me to drive all the way to the shop, punch out, jump in the Jeep, drive all the way home. I wouldn't have got home till around 9 o'clock. Yeah. Instead, I was home about 6:37. So that was sweet. So that happened. Yep. What else? Kate and Rob. Rob is on the Hope train. Yeah. He's back on the Hope train. He had an epiphany yesterday, which is an idea. He thinks he figured out Kate. Why she's being like this. Why she's dragging this out for months. Kate is very emotional. When I was with Kate, I didn't see any of this. All I saw was a tough chick wannabe. I think I saw her cry once, and I'm not going to get into that story because it's X-rated. But anyway, he's telling me stories how when he goes to visit his family in Michigan and they leave, she cries. When she goes to visit her mom and she has to leave, she cries. He said she cries a lot. Apparently, the tough chick wannabe is emotional. So that's what he's pinned this whole situation on. She's emotional because she's scared he's going to abandon her, he's going to leave her because he said he was going to divorce and blah, blah, blah. So he's softened up and taken a different stance on it now. He's not packing up all his stuff to stage it to move out. He's just riding the hope boat. Yep. I'm like, well, all right. If you're seeing signs that I'm not seeing, like she's video conferencing with him every night now. She wasn't doing that before. She told him she loved him. She hasn't done that in months. He's seeing little signs that she's trying to get over this mental block that she has. So, whatever. It's his rodeo, you know. So, I'm not giving him advice anymore. You know, because I'm not going to be the guy that once it is fixed, then he turns around and shoots a messenger and he starts to resent me for my advice. Yeah, you were toxifying the situation, putting paranoia in my mind, you know, blah, blah, blah. No, I see that writing on the wall, so I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just encouraging him. I told him today, as a matter of fact, this morning when he called, like a good girlfriend, he was telling me, he repeats himself all the time, so he's telling me the same stories over and over again. At least I know when he's telling the truth, because the story doesn't change. But I told him, I said, dude, you're back on the hope train. You got hope. And he said, no, I'm not back on the hope train yet. Because every time I get hope, then I get my heart stomped on. I'm like, dude, sounds like everything you've said about how she's behaving, how she's warming up to the situation, justifies being on the hope train. And coming from me, the king of paranoia and the king of microanalyzing and patterns and stuff like that, for me to say that, that's a big deal. So I told him, I said, I think you're justified this time to be on the hope train. So we'll see. Nothing new with Scrunch other than she misses me. She wants to cohabitate because she knows how much easier it'll be in life for both of us. And I agree. Yeah. So, all right. That's all I got. We'll keep her short. Anything happens, I'll let you know. Stand by.